Would you rather be extremely attractive, like drop-dead gorgeous, but completely forgettable, or extremely ugly, but change the world? Millard Fillmore was probably one of our most attractive presidents. In fact, I dare you to look up a picture of him on Google and tell me if you think he looks like Alec Baldwin. When Queen Victoria met Millard Fillmore, after the meeting she said, "That is the most attractive man I have ever met in my entire life." Now, Millard Fillmore was tall and handsome. He carried himself well. No one could tell that he had grown up as the son of a dirt poor farmer and who had worked his way up the ranks. One of the reasons why he was put on the ticket as a vice president was that he was so vanilla. You see, he didn't really take strong stances on anything. He just got along with everyone. He was a Whig, but he wasn't really anti-slavery, so the Southerners could kind of swallow him, and the Whigs could deal with him, and he was just so vanilla, walking the middle of the line. Plus, he looked great. So they said, yeah, let's make him vice president. He'll be attractive. He'll help us win the ticket. Well, when the president died and Millard Fillmore became the vice president, he really didn't know what to do. His whole life, he had just played the middle line. In fact, one of the biggest policies that came out of his time as president was the Compromise of 1850. Now let's contrast him with the president that I'm sure you do know, Abraham Lincoln. Now, Lincoln has become an icon of freedom and integrity. But if you lived during the time of Lincoln, he was made fun of all the time for being awkward, bumbly, and ugly. Even admirers would write in their diaries, "He is the most ugly man I have ever met." Like, when people would meet him, just the way his body was put together, it was just so wrong. People had a hard time taking him seriously. Now, if we could meet Abraham Lincoln, we would be in awe. Like, oh my goodness, this is Lincoln. Like, we would love him. But in his day, he had a hard time getting respect because of how he looked. Now, Millard Fillmore, on the other hand, when he walked into a room, women were like, "Oh my goodness, bring out the fans." And the guys were like, "Dang it." I mean, like, this guy was gorgeous. But his character was more concerned with fitting in and making everyone happy than picking a stance, maybe the right thing, and standing for it. I was listening to a Sabbath school a couple of weeks ago, and the Sabbath school teacher said, asked a question that was similar to the one I asked you at the beginning of this. He said, would you rather be liked by everyone, very popular, but completely forgettable, or be hated by half of the people who know you and loved by the other half of the people you know? And like, my first reaction was like, I'd rather have everyone like me and just not really remember me. But then he challenged me and he said, the only way you can make a difference in the world is to say something, is to stand for something. And as soon as you stand for something, some people are going to hate you and some people are going to love you. But if you're like Millard Fillmore and just try to make everyone happy, just try to look good, but never stand for anything, you're completely forgettable. Think about your favorite Bible characters. Daniel, Joseph, Esther, Jesus. All of these people had enemies, had people who hated them passionately. But all of those people were worried about pleasing one person, and that's God. I was listening to a great book this week from Oprah, and she was talking about how you need to not worry about pleasing the crowd, just please yourself. Be true to yourself and be true to your heart. And there is truth to that idea, but I want to take it one step further than what Oprah did, and I want to say you need to be true to God. You see, when Abraham Lincoln was president, he believed God put him in that place to preserve the Union. and he was willing to fight a war over it. Millard Fillmore, I don't want to judge his Christian character because I don't know anything about his character as far as his Christian and walk with God and everything. But his life story is one of maintaining status quo and keeping everyone happy. This world doesn't need vanilla Christians. This world needs Christians who step up and share the truth. This world needs Christians who have opinions, who believe what they say they believe and are willing to lay it all on the line. You see, right now in America, less so now than a couple of years ago, but it's still really easy to be a Christian and make everyone happy. But it's getting harder and harder to stand up for what you believe is right and true and still make everyone around you happy. And there's going to come a day very soon, I believe, when being a Christian is going to be so offensive and so divisive that we will have to choose if we're going to honor God or fit in. We'll have to choose if we want to be attractive to everyone around us or ugly and change the world. God put you on this earth, on this time, for a very important reason. He's given you people to impact, jobs to do, a truth to share. And you do it your way. You don't have to be a Teddy Roosevelt burst into the room explosive kind of person. But your moment of destiny is coming. And when it hits, when God says, pray with that person, give her a hug, write a letter, step up and say something, then you know that you're supposed to do that thing God is telling you to do. And let me promise you this, when you do the thing God is telling you to do, someone will hate it. Someone will hate you. You will lose popularity. But you'll hear at least one person clapping. And it'll be Jesus. And he'll be saying, well done, my good and faithful servant. May we all be found faithful when he comes back. May we live not to please the crowd, but to please Christ. God bless.